Hey everyone, this is an Amalgia video for Animal Crossing New Horizons on the Nintendo Switch, and today's Halloween, so I'm going to be getting into some quick tips on how you can make the most of tonight's event. The festivities run from 5 p.m. to midnight, so you should have plenty of time to get everything you need. If you already saw the guide that was put up on Amalgia.com earlier in the month on how to get started for Halloween, then you should already be aware that you needed to stockpile candy. If you didn't know that you had to stockpile candy, I wouldn't panic. There are some ways to get candy today, but you may not be able to get everything that the event has to offer. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get into it and I'll go over some of the basic rules of Halloween. Jack should be waiting for you in your plaza, but before you even get to him, the villagers wandering around your town will be dressed up. If the villagers wandering around see you, they'll chase after you like they want to talk to you. Talking to them prompts you to choose trick or treat. If you choose treat, you have to hand over one of your candies, but in return, they give you items, sometimes pumpkins, sometimes other candy that I'll explain in a minute, spooky themed furniture, and spooky themed DIYs. If you refuse to hand over candy to them, then they change your skin tone, eye color, and sometimes put little facial effects on your face. Here they made me look like a zombie with a scar on the left side of my cheek. It is possible to avoid a conversation with them by zoning into a building, logging out, or talking to another character and having the conversation go on for so long that they just walk away. So the first thing you're going to want to do is avoid all the villagers you can until you get a chance to talk to Jack, and he'll ask you for one of your pieces of candy to start with, and he'll offer you a reward. The first thing he gave me for giving him a piece of candy was Jack's robe, and you're going to need Jack's robe and the head that he'll eventually give you in order to make the most of Halloween. Wearing Jack's face and Jack's robe gives you some special Halloween powers, but I'll go over those in a minute. The key here to remember is that after the first piece of candy, giving Jack more pieces of candy only seems to make him give you pumpkins. What he wants in exchange after that is lollipops. Lollipops are a unique piece of candy that could not be bought in Nook's shop. Basically, the way lollipops work is that one random villager who's wandering around outside will have a lollipop on them, and they'll give it to you in exchange for candy, while the others will reward you with the items we talked about earlier, like spooky themed items and DIY. The basic strategy is to give candy to villagers wandering around until you find the lollipop. Then avoid everybody else until you can get that lollipop to Jack in exchange for whatever item he'll give you. And then go back and find out who has the next lollipop. It will be randomized between the other villagers. Jack will also teach you the rare haunt reaction, so don't miss your chance to get it. While the main strategy is to conserve candy and get as many lollipops as you can, some of the other prizes that they give you are exclusive. So, like if you went up to a villager and gave them candy and they didn't have a lollipop, they could give you the spooky rug, the spooky wall, and the spooky floor. They can also teach you some of the other Halloween reactions that Jack did not teach you. Something else to keep in mind is that the people who don't have the lollipop, it seems to be random what they give you, but if they give you a DIY, they target something that you do not have. Earlier in October, like for the span of the whole month, it's been possible to get spooky DIYs by going into people's houses and talking to them while they're working at the workbench. There was a chance that they had something to offer you. Also, you could have found them by shooting down balloons and things like that. They seem to give you DIYs that you're missing, so if you hadn't been logging in this month, you're going to need a lot of candy in order to make up the deficit. Alright, so if you hadn't been stockpiling candy, what can you do? Some of the villagers will be dressed up, but they'll be in their homes. They're not a threat to you or your candy. On the contrary, they actually give you candy if you talk to them. It's also possible to leave and go back in and get more candy from them, but I'm not sure if there's like a time interval for how long you have to wait until you can do it. I tried maybe about 5 to 10 minutes apart, and I was able to get multiple pieces of candy, but I didn't actually try it in rapid succession. So if it works, I don't know, let me know in the comments or something. The next trick for getting candy is also what I referred to as one of the Halloween superpowers I mentioned. If you've gotten enough lollipops to be able to have Jack's face and Jack's robe, you need to wear them both at the same time. The head alone or the body alone won't be enough, but if you're wearing both, not only will the villagers roaming around not try to steal your candy, But if you talk to them, they'll be so scared and convinced that you're Jack that they'll just give you a piece of candy for free. Getting a piece of free candy from the villagers by tricking them into thinking you're Jack only seems to work once per villager. After they fork over the candy, they figure out it was you in a disguise all along, the wise villagers that they are. The dressing up as Jack candy trick also works on the villagers who are in their homes. Once you've received everything that Jack is willing to give you, like his attire, the spooky carriage, the spooky wand, and I'm not talking about the things that come from the villagers themselves, like the wall, floor, rug, and other DIYs. He'll say something to you about even perfection can be improved on. He'll give you that kind of message. But this is mostly just a trick for him to get more lollipops, because if you give him lollipops after this point, he seems to just give you random items that he has. Like sometimes he'll give you pumpkins, but he'll also give you like repeats, duplicates of his head and robe, which you don't really need unless you want to give them to a friend. The event revolves around giving the villagers candy and avoiding them when you need to. But if you've given them multiple pieces of candy, they will hit a point where they just talk to you like normal and don't ask for candy anymore and don't offer rewards. One of the ways I found to fix this was to zone into a building and then zone back out and try to talk to them again, or log out and log back in, and that seems to refresh them so they're willing to take your candy and give you rewards. Those are all the tips I have for now, so I'm just going to show you all the DIY screens of all the rewards that you can get from Halloween, whether it's from DIY or things that were given by Jack and the other villagers. First up, we have the spooky chair. It costs 3 orange pumpkins and 3 softwood. Next, we have the spooky table. It costs 14 orange pumpkins and 10 softwood. The spooky standing lamp costs 3 orange pumpkins, 5 hardwood, and 1 clay. The spooky lantern costs 4 orange pumpkins, while the spooky lantern set is 4 orange pumpkins but also 4 clumps of weeds. The spooky candy set costs 1 orange pumpkin and 3 pieces of candy. And next up, the spooky table setting costs 1 orange pumpkin, 1 iron nugget, and 1 clay. Spooky Scarecrow is 3 orange pumpkins and 4 wood, while Spooky Tower is 7 orange pumpkins. The Spooky Arch is 10 orange pumpkins, 10 hardwood, and 3 clay, while the Spooky Carriage is 30 orange pumpkins, 20 hardwood, 20 wood, 20 softwood, and 10 iron nuggets. Spooky Garland is 1 orange pumpkin, 1 iron nugget, and 1 clay. And next, the Spooky Fence is 3 orange pumpkins and 5 iron nuggets. The spooky wand is 1 spooky lantern and 3 star fragments. Also, many of these DIY items are customizable in 4 different colors, which is what you need the other colored pumpkins for. Here's a look at Jack's face, Jack's robe, the spooky floor, wall, and rug. As I mentioned before, these items are not DIYs. If you found any of this information helpful, please subscribe. It really helps us out. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.